In this GYDA Talks, Robert talks to Bibi Raven. Bibi the Link Builder is the crazy founder over at BibiBuzz, where her wild gang of outreach Jedi create powerful backlinks for her awesome clientele. She is infamously known for doling out world-saving link building advice, creating link training, and endless, utterly pointless dad jokes. Robert and Bibi discuss how is running a team in the Philippines viable, being a personality online, transactions versus relationships, vulnerability and listening, and managing expectations, plus much more.
Hello and welcome to the GYDA Talks, and today we've got a really special guest. We've got Bibi from the Netherlands. Hello Bibi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. I got a little bit of a headache, but I think it's my new contacts or something. I think I need reading glasses.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can get reading glasses. I think these are about €1 each. You can just buy 20 pairs of them.
I'm in denial though, so.
Keep them wherever you want. So without further ado, so our audience, Bibi, is leaders agency founders. So for those people who don't know Bibi, who haven't come across you on Facebook and your subtle, understated comments, what are you known for? What are you known for, Bibi?
Well, I have a lot of nicknames, but one that describes my business the best is Bibi the Link Builder. I build links for a lot of clients. Yeah, so that's what I'm known for, just building links 24/7.
So your business is, if I recall, you're in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Love the Netherlands, country of choice. If I could, and it's not just a honeymoon thing, if I could move somewhere, it would be in the Netherlands. You've got so many things right that the UK hasn't got right. You've got a business partner in Florida, and you've got a dev team in the Philippines. Is that the rough setup?
Yeah, it's not a dev team; it's an outreach team basically. So they do my outreach.
Okay, and
someone in Spain.
And just to give a sense of how big the agency is, how many people work in the agency?
We've got 18 right now, and I think we're growing every month with a couple more because we get a lot of clients.
So what's the backstory to that? Because one could argue only 18 people. You know, why aren't you 36 or 72 or 144? Or you?
Well, I never had a plan for my business, so it wasn't like I want to grow to a team of this big or yay high. I started as my own self, doing all the work, and I grew with the clients that I've gotten. So I still don't have a plan, but because we're such a lean company, we have a really good profit margin, and so we're doing pretty well. And I also want to keep a good lifestyle. So I think if we would grow too fast and hire 100 people, it would basically be suicide for me.
So I'd be interested about this Philippine thing, because I know a few agencies that have that kind of model. Either sometimes it's Bangalore, sometimes it's the Philippines. There must be a downside. I mean, the upside is, hey, it's literally a couple of $100 a month, you know. So that's clearly the upside. There must be a downside in having a team that you're trying to run that comes from a different country with a different culture, and that you're not personally connected with. What's the downside of it?
For me personally, there is no downside because I'm used to the online life. So I'm able to make really deep connections with people online. I met my partner online, for instance. And there are several ways to compensate that, you know, to build your team together. But I would say if you're not used to working remotely with people or being a personality online as much as you are offline, it will be a problem for you. So you have to invest in building an online connection with people. Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, you use that phrase, being a personality online. And when I think about you, Bibi, it's always like, it's Bibi time. So was that a kind of a deliberate thing, or is it just your effervescent, straight from personality?
So now I'm blushing. So I used to be a social media marketer. So I'm already really good in creating a network online and building connections and engaging with people. And when I started link building, at some point I realized that this was my strength in link building, not just link building itself, but also dealing with clients and dealing with the employees. So having that personality, it was already in there, but then I realized, oh, this is my strength. I don't have to be all corporate and business-like and follow these traditional paths, but I can just carve my own thing based on my personal, personal.
So it's interesting because most agencies are really good at transactions. You know, you ask them to get links for, you ask them to get clicks for coffee cups or TV monitors or whatever it is. They can do that because it's transactional. It's their relationship with their machine. My experience is that most agencies aren't so great at the relationship stuff. They're not so, because they don't get that when you're trying to work with a client, it's not a transaction, it's a relationship. A client is handing over their business to you, and therefore they value that. So is it just always been that you've been that horrible phrase, a people person, or have you just kind of turned the volume up because it's created a little bit of a brand around your personality?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think I didn't turn the volume up. I accepted myself the way I am, and I turned the filter off. So I was thinking that I had to be in some kind of box, you know. And I thought, no, I can just be Bibi. So I just was Bibi everywhere in any situation, whether it was big clients or at a conference or, you know, online.
So what are the kind of examples of things where people say to you, "Oh, Bibi, that's that's a bit unfiltered"? What are the sort of things you've done that people have kind of?
Well, I wrote a guest post for Pitchbox. It's a tool I use, and it was the only guest post on my blog that got a parental warning because it had so many swear words in it. So that's part of it. That's a good example.
But don't people see, the thing for me is don't people want that? Because for me, most of digital agency world, despite being young-minded and cool and hip, is actually incredibly bland. You know, every website's identical. It's like, we work with you, our team, our ping pong table, you know, look at us in t-shirts, look at us having drinks on the roof. But they're all the same. They're all like Me Too sites with kind of Me Too stuff, and it's actually beige as a buyer. It's actually beige and blancmange. There's very little character. There's very few people actually stand for something apart from running a digital agency is a cool thing to do. So when there is a personality, you know, whether that's, I mean, the example would be so David Gilroy at Conscious, who always wears orange, always has an opinion, only works with lawyers, but working with lawyers and only wearing shocking orange is like, it's like, oh, there's David Gilroy. There's the photo, 100 lawyers all in black. David with an orange t-shirt. It's this sense of standing out in a world of grey. And I think, ironically, agencies, although they all think they're pretty cool, they all become grey because they all kind of do the same stuff. You know, they kind of like,
and they also all have a ping pong table. Like, ooh, we're being Google with a ping pong table, and then at some point it just gets so done. I think apart from standing out through your personality, it also has to do with vulnerability. So when people know that you're always 100% you, they trust you more because they know you're not, you know, selling bullshit to them, or when you fuck up, for instance, you're gonna be honest about it because you're there in it as a person.
Oh, I love the vulnerability. I love the vulnerability thing. I mean, I show the Brené Brown, or ask people to look at the Brené Brown TED talk on vulnerability. It's 20 minutes on someone who's kind of really, really square, scientific, realizing that by being vulnerable, people can help you and you can help yourself. But if you're not vulnerable, then it kind of holds back. And I think that's really interesting that you almost use that as a
trust signal, right? It's a trust signal to me. And also it opens up listening, because when you're not vulnerable and you're just broadcasting your own, we're gonna solve this for you and you're gonna get 1,000 leads. But if you open up with, hey, I don't know, let's talk, and then you're actually gonna listen, that way you find golden nuggets that you wouldn't have otherwise if you're just, pasting that sticker on every client about that best. You have the
so that's pulling away from buy from me, buy from me, buy from me, buyfromme.com. And also I guess what you're doing is you're only going to be attractive to certain types of clients.
Yeah.
The clients that want the money back guarantee, they'll go, oh, yeah, she can't even tell us what she's going to get for our money. So you know what, we'll go over to this site over here, which has guaranteed results, guaranteed $5 a click or whatever it is. So,
yeah.
so what you're doing is you're creating your own little ecosphere of people who lean into the Bibi way of doing stuff, which means that the people you wouldn't want to work with in any case go somewhere else, and therefore you're working on your terms. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't guarantee results. I do guarantee deliverables. So people get a certain amount of links and they are of a certain type of quality. But I'm not promising that they will increase your rankings or increase your traffic, because I can't promise that. It's dependent on so many things. So I think you're really hitting the hammer on the nail there.
Yeah.
But what I do have, so I have a service page that's on my company site, and it explains my whole process and exactly what I'm going to deliver, and what I do promise and what I don't promise. So every time I get a lead, I send them to the service page, and then they drop off, or they don't, and they come back to me. And that saves so much time and negotiation and heartache, and you also manage the expectations really well that way. And it filters out clients that aren't the right fit. So yeah, that really helps.
So what then happens when COVID comes along?
I die, no. Yeah, it's funny. So when the lockdown happened, I was in panic mode, because I was like, oh my God, the good times are over. I was growing my company, and I actually didn't lose any clients. I had one client that it was in hospitality, and they moved back the budget spend with 30%. And it wasn't great, but I loved them so much that, I was happy that they stayed on and we just continued. But the first 2 weeks, even though things weren't bad for me, I just got into panic mode, and I was working as if, everything was going to shit. So I was working so many hours and trying to keep everybody happy, and making sure that I was getting new clients. And then after 2 weeks, I just kind of broke down. Suddenly I started crying. I cried for like 15 minutes. And then I realized I'm in panic mode, but there's no need to be in panic mode. I could just relax, because I'm actually getting more business than before COVID. I'm not 100% sure why. I think a lot of people went online and they stopped spending on ads, and they were looking for other ways to grow their business. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure why that is, but for me, everything has been going really well.